Today we're looking at the Welsh language, and months, the 12 months of the year, are good to learn in any language, not just for the words that you use often, but to understand how the sounds in a language fit together, and how, when words are loaned sometimes, the language changes to accommodate that, to reflect how the language works. So the word for month in Welsh is mis, or mish in some dialects, and this is masculine, meaning that it's not going to change forms as often, basically. We have a word stemming from this which does change form, Davies, which means 2 months consecutively in a row. That's quite a unique word, I think, Davies. Anyway, what are the months, the 12 months of the year? That's 10, 12 months of the year. What are they? The first 5 of these months, from Latin, January, February, March, April, May, show us the sound changes which took place. If you want to jump to June and be a bit warmer, then I'll put a timestamp so you can do that. As Brythonic, having been influenced by Latin, changed and became the Welsh language. So the first one, Ionawr, is January. And like January in English, it comes from Ionarius. Now there were some changes in Welsh that you're going to see across quite a few of these. The endings dropped off because the accent shifted toward the beginning of the word. Ionawr. And over time, you see that AWR ending. That means that this word is probably quite old. You'll see a lot in a Gododdin, the earliest British poem, a lot of words ending in AWR. The next one, February, Chwefror. And this comes from Februarius. Now, how did that come together? So the ending dropped off, of course. And then you get the B, which, if you look at French and Welsh, a lot of words shift between B and V, the sound. The F in Welsh sounds like a V. Now, the F with February, or Februarius, and Chwefror, that wouldn't naturally lead one to the other for me. But in Cornish, this is mis Chwefror. And you can see that H there. And I can see how that H might have come from the F sound with British phonetics. And in Welsh, I think later on the Ch developed off of that. So, Chwefror. And that OR ending at the end, it's a bit younger than the our ending. So this may have been a word that changed a bit over time. Maybe. The month of March, things start getting better. Mis Mawrth. Now you get 3 with this one for the price of 1. This is the month of March. It is also the word for Tuesday, the day of Mars, Dydd Mawrth. And of course Mars is a planet, Planet Mawrth. Now this comes from Latin, Martis, which shortened to Mars. And this RS ending, a lot of words in Welsh that are between Welsh or Latin, be they cognates or loanwords, end in earth, that RTH ending. In any case, that's the word for March in Welsh. Mis Ebrill for April. And this comes, like English does, from Aprilis. And I want to show you a sound change here that's quite unique, is that words in Latin which have an L before the penultimate syllable, before the second to last vowel, sometimes produce the sound at the end of Welsh words, or they did when Welsh was forming. Take the word for a wing, like on a bird or a plane. In Latin, ascella. And that long vowel produced some kind of change in Welsh as it emerged, and they stuck in a sound. Asgell is the word for wing in Welsh. Asgell. And Ebrich did this as well. That S got lost, but that double L was in there. Welsh softens P's a lot, when they're in the middle of words to ba. So mis Ebrich. The next one, mis Mai. This comes from the Latin month of Maius. In older forms of Welsh, this word Mai would have been much more elongated and the two vowels much more separated. So it would have been more like Mai. But over time it pressed together Mai. And this is a change that you got accentuated, especially down in Cornish, when a lot of the diphthongs or vowel combinations were lost. And Welsh began to lose some of those, but it didn't quite lose them as Cornish did. So, mis mai. In the Cornish language, mis me. And you see that diphthong's been completely lost. Welsh hung on to it. That's one of the subtle things that makes Welsh and Cornish a bit different in terms of their phonology. Right, so we got through those first 5 Latin-based ones. There's one more Latin one hidden in the next few ones, but apart from that, the rest are from a Brythonic Celtic source, originally. So, the month of June, this is a quite interesting one. Mis Mehefin. Now, this comes all the way back from Brythonic Medio Samina. And this means literally the middle of summer. Over time, the initial bits were the emphasis, and so the back of the words were lost. So you got mesamin. And then you had a shift in consonants later. M sounds became V sounds, and S sounds become H. Like I've explained in a couple of the videos, but it became mehevin. From that long word, it pressed together into that, with those sound changes. The middle of summer. Which may seem quite odd to us today. But in fact, summer came at a slightly different time earlier in history, and weather patterns have changed, and these have been in place for so long that the weather has changed. Like the next one, Gorfena. It means literally the end of summer. Gorfen, to finish, and ha. The H is lost there, and you get 2 N's there, which shows the emphasis has changed over time where you put that. The end of summer. Gorfena for July. August. Coming from Texas, we don't really get a summer on these islands. And August is sometimes the closest that you get here. Anyway, August, which comes from Vulgar Latin, Augustus. And how do you think this changed compared to the earlier ones? The sound emphasis became put on the middle of the word, and gradually it became Augustus. And I think later on they're like, the US is just too much to pronounce at the end, or it blended into the ST, I don't know, but it became August over time. Mis August, the month of the Emperor Augustus, who reigned at the height of the Roman Empire, and the Romano-Britons, who became the Welsh, were staunchly pro-empire by the later stages. Very much so. The word for the month of September in Welsh is mis Medi. And this one's easy. Medi means to reap or reaping. Like when you go with the fields with the sickle and cut down the wheat, bringing in the harvest. It's that time of the year. Mis Medi. Mis Hydre. This is probably my favorite one in terms of meaning. In Middle Welsh, we're talking probably 1200, 1300, that time frame. This was Hydref. Meaning really the time of the year that these stags are rutting and often making loud boasts to each other in the woods. So you can imagine thinking that's the time of the year. And you get 2 for 1 here. This is also the word for autumn in Welsh, with the article in front of it to show that it's more than just a month, it's more important. So it went from hydbref to hydref, that Kowalski, that pressing together, like you get a bit in Cornish, but not so absolute. November. There are 2 names for November, actually. There's one that's more confined to poetry, and it's an older one. I think it's fallen out of use in dialects now, but it was spoken until quite recently. I'll tell that to you in a moment. But the word in Welsh today is mis Tachwedd, and that means the month of slaughter, slaughtering the animals to keep the meat for the winter. And the other one is mis D. Mis D. That means the black month. So the Welsh put quite a sinister turn on the month of November for some reason. Well, the weather, if you're in Wales, it does turn quite foul. And it's interesting that in Cornish, mis Du, the black month, is the name of it today. December, mis Rhagfyr. This literally means before the shortening, and that initial bit, rag, this is a word that can mean like 5-6 different things, and across the history of the Welsh language it has changed connotation and shifted and gathered different meanings. In this case it means in the face of, before the short. Vir is a mutated form of beer, short, and they mean the short of the year, the solstice, the shortest part of the year. Mis Rhagfyr. Today's question: which one of those words for the different months in Welsh was your favorite and why? Or how do you, if you speak another Celtic language, feel it compares to the language that you know? Let me know down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And hey, as always, diolch yn fawr am wylio. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.